Well, good morning, ORTA people. I'm excited today to announce that our ORTA member of the month is Jim Montaquila. Uh, he's from Portage County, and he has been a longtime member of the Portage County RTA. And with that, I'm going to ask Jim a few questions, and we'll hear his responses. And I'll first start off with Jim. Congratulations. You were nominated by your chapter as the ORTA member of the month, and we're excited that you have, number one, accepted, and that you are being recognized for your tireless work on behalf of the retirees in Portage County.
Oh,
So I'll just start off with a simple one, and it's tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe where you taught, etc., and we'll move on from there.
okay. Well, thank you, Robin. And before we even get started, I'd like to thank ORTA and especially Dave Ginn and Chris DeMarco, my president of the Portage County Retired Teachers, for this honor. Not expected, certainly not deserved, but I sure appreciate it all the way. I'm a retired educator, obviously, who's still working with kids. I had 34 years in education. 9 of them were in the classroom. I began at Nordonia in Summit County for 1 year, and then I was persuaded to go back to my home district in Peninsula, Ohio, Woodridge Local Schools, and I taught there for 9 years, or 8 years, I'm sorry. And then for 26 years during my lifetime, I was a high school principal. I retired 15 years ago after all those years in education. And in the middle of my education, I was forced to take time out. 7 years in the middle of my time in education, I took time out to run and relocate our family business, Terry Lumber and Supply. And the reason I did that, my father was getting up in years, and we got a real nice love letter from your uncle, Uncle Sam, the government. The government sent our family a letter saying that a lumberyard is not compatible with the designs of a national park, even though we had been in the area, in the location since 1940. And so my family persuaded me to leave education, to come on board on full-time basis, although I'd worked all summers and weekends and everything all my life, and to take over the company and to relocate it. And I did that. We relocated it, and in the process, we bought a second company, a hardwood manufacturing company. After I got all that up and running, I said, wait a minute, I'm an educator. I'm going back into education. And so I did do that. And when I left our family business, for the first 5 years, I was the principal of a maximum security prison for kids, part of the Ohio Department of Youth Services, Cuyahoga Hills Boys School. We had over 1,200 kids that went through my building each year. And they were still kids, even though they had committed crimes. We had really the worst of the worst offenders in the state of Ohio while I was there. But after a while, I decided, wait a minute, I want to see my kids graduate and go on to Ohio State University, not to the Ohio Penitentiary. And so I left, and I returned to public schools as the principal of Mogador High School in Summit County. I was there for 3 years. And then I left Mogador and went over to Windham High School in Portage County for 6 years. And I finished my career 7 years at Streetsboro High School in 2008. So that was my time as an educator.
Well, it's interesting. Your career and mine are almost identical. I
Okay.
had started as a teacher, got out of teaching, and worked in a family business for my father as a millwright, and spent 3 years out of education and then got back in and finished the rest of my career. So kind of interesting. I was also a high school principal for 8 years. And,
Okay.
you know, we chewed some of the same dirt at least. And
Oh, yeah.
actually, a funny story, I didn't send, the judge sent three of my students up to Cuyahoga Boys School uh, during my time as principal, and they came back. They were changed. So you might have even been their principal at one time. Um, Let me ask you, how did you get involved with ORTA?
Well, I'm uh, I'm going to retire in 2008, and I thought, well, what am I going to do with myself? You know, I don't have any real hobbies. I've got a home and 3 acres of property, and I can mow my lawn, but that's only in the summertime, and that's only for a few hours, one day a week. What am I going to do with myself? So I started to think, okay, I don't have really any real hobbies as such. Uh, and we had a group come into my school, Portage County retired teachers, and giving out a scholarship to one of my graduates. I thought, you know what? Maybe I ought to join that group after I retire. So as soon as I retired, I made contact with them, and I joined pretty quickly after I retired in 2008.
Well, that's that. I appreciate your long service and involvement with ORTA. I've only been involved since 2017, and you know, it's not a job for me. It's more of a labor of love. I do enjoy my time at ORTA, and obviously with so many things happening at STRS, we really need people like yourself to be out there on the front lines, meeting with people and encouraging them to get involved. ORTA does so much. I mean, my office deals with pension advocacy, but your office deals with scholarships, with teacher grants, with feeding the homeless, with Habitat for Humanity, with any of those wonderful projects that ORTA does. Um, uh, what have you learned about retirement since 2008?
Well, what I've learned about retirement is that there's a word I learned. You know, I really didn't know it before I retired, but it's the word no. No, I don't have to do this. No, let's make a change. Whatever, you now have the flexibility to really guide yourself in whatever direction you want. So that's the biggest thing I learned after retiring. And I also learned that really you have more to give, and don't just stop when you retire. You have all these years of experience, put them to use. You know, you didn't just retire and forget everything you ever learned or did. So put all those things to use for everybody. And obviously, in my case, I felt the need to still work with the young people of our community as well as our teachers.
Well, that is sage advice, and I think a lot of us, when we first retire, we think it's going to be golfing every day and you know, it just enjoying life. But you know, you have to have a purpose, and clearly you have a strong drive to be purposeful in your life. Um, um, with your current role with the Portage County RTA, what what is your role and what are you doing for your local group right now?
Well, I'm the chairperson of two of our committees at Portage County. The first one is Scholarship Committee.
Great.
Um, we began a scholarship program way before I ever was a member, back in 1994, giving out, I believe it was one or two $100 scholarships that first year. Now we're giving out $2,500 scholarships to young people who are going to graduate from Portage County high schools and are going to go into education to become teachers. We give out, oh, well, I think last year we gave out four, but we've given up to seven scholarships over the years as such. And that's a real rewarding thing to have our people look at our kids that are still in high schools and see what they're coming into as becoming educators. So I'm the chairperson of that committee. I'm also the chairperson of the teacher grant committee. About 5 years ago, because of the urging of Dave Ginn, we began a teacher grant program. And our teacher grant program is designed to give money, in our case, $500 to each one, for innovative classroom or school-wide projects what they don't have money for. And now this year, we have given out 4 of those $500 scholarships to help these people in the programs that they'd like to launch as such. Our money that we get comes from our staff, our people in our Portage County retired teachers who are working at Neomed, proctoring exams for prospective doctors and dentists. So that's how we get the money to launch these 2 programs. And the people on my committee, they work hard. They really do to find out which of the programs that they are launching are going to be the ones that we need to support.
Well, that's you're definitely staying busy.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll bring our short little interview to a close. Is there anything else you'd like us to know? As primarily your audience is other retired teachers. Anything else you'd like for us to know as we get ready to edit this and send it out to our membership?
Well, besides what I've already talked about, I'm still involved in other ways too. Since I retired, I've been involved with a group called Believe in Ohio. It's a state-sponsored program whereby we give out grants to people who are developing business plans in the high schools as such. So I've been involved with the Believe in Ohio program. At first, when I retired, I thought, what am I going to do? I need to still work with kids. So for about the first 4 years, I taught driver training to kids in our area. And currently, I am a supervisor of student teachers for Ashland University. I've got 4 students coming up this semester in the spring here. And finally, in the past year, I hooked on with the Summit County, because I live in Summit County, even though I work basically with Portage County. I hooked up with the Summit County Board of Elections. And prior to the election last November and coming up in the March primary, I'm going to be putting time in the election board, getting ready for the election coming up. So I keep myself out of trouble that way.
Well, absolutely you do. And I just want to say I thank you for all of your service, obviously for your service as an educator. I mean, I think we all come to education with a servant heart. And our goal was to change the world in a positive way. And I can tell just by our short time today and what other people have said about you that you exemplify what we would like to see out of all educators, lifelong learning, etc., and a wide variety of experiences. So once again, congratulations for being the ORTA Member of the Month. And I'm sure we won't be strangers going forward. So I'll be in Portage County. Chris talked to the chairman over there and has set me up. I don't even know what day it is, but we're going to have something interesting in store for Portage County, inviting a lot of non-ORTA members, and see if we can help get even more people involved in ORTA. So once again, thank you, Jim, and we will be in touch.
Thank you, and thank ORTA for all effort in making me a candidate here.
All righty.